Fire, what you saying?
Yeah, fire key. Ready, no? Give
Ser-
thanks.
it's a serious thing. We are here again, bald head in the dread. Have to remind the people we are outside October. Look at me, fire. We outside August
August
25th,
25th.
Sunday, August 25th. We are outside bald head in the dread podcast party, live music, live podcast at the Ito Kitchen, 1032 Union Street, Brooklyn, New York, from 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. or later, depending on the vibe. So make sure you pass through, show some love. Fire, what reason about today?
Yeah, to the very reasonable, interesting topic where I take place in the household across the board. Sure, a lot of people can relate. Yeah, it's the internal competition where take place within relationships where there's these all of these facades going on and back and forth going on as opposed to it being a union, so to speak. And when it not have to be this picture perfect union all the time. We know that. But at least it's not supposed to be that big tussle. And we're not talking about the physical tussle, the mental tussle where I go back and forth between people within relationships. It kind of distorted.
In regards to this relationship now, is that I notice people struggle when their spouse has any form of success. And as you said earlier, that kind of goes against the whole unionship of relationships. Now, before we continue, far right, I'm pretty sure you can chime in on this before we get into it. I have to put a disclaimer. There are some people that don't do well with success. When they experience things, fire, their head fly off the handle and they just start behaving in a way that's not conducive for both parties. We have to acknowledge that. Now, putting that to the side, a lot of people struggle with a successful spouse, both men and women. A lot of times the brother wants a woman, which is very bugged out. A man may complain about wanting a woman that achieves certain things, but when she achieves those things, he feel a way about it. Or a woman may want a man that achieves certain things, but once he achieves those things, she feel a way about it. And it's a mixture. I don't know if it's a power dynamic. They feel like their success is taken on. Especially, I'm gonna talk about the men first. I don't know what the men when they're jealous of the woman, if they feel their success is taken away from their power traditional roles. I don't know if it's a vibe where they feel a way where they get more attention. It could be numerous things, but the whole point is that you should be supporting your spouse, because if we're dealing with union and we're dealing with togetherness, with your spouse winning, you would be winning. And far it seems like this reasoning ties into what we spoke on before in regards to like that key component of manhood or womanhood is being happy for the other's success. And because you haven't conquered that now, it's kind of straining your relationship with your person that you're supposed to be building with. Because if you're supposed to be building fire, right, and like building long term, and the success is not a detriment to the household, the success is not a detriment to the health, physical or mental, or taken away from time, I don't really see why it should be a grudgeful vibe towards the person's success. And I'll love to say what the comment section says, especially from the women, because like I hear it, a lot of brothers is like they want this and that, and when they get it, fire, they feel away when the woman's achieving certain stuff. Now, I pointed earlier, if like she's talking down to you and carry on, yes, but like a lot of times that's not the case. She just they're chilling and winning, and like they feel a real way about that. Far right, I'm pretty sure you observed this or heard these stories in your life so far.
More heap of time, man, because here what happen now is across the board, and across the board, it's more like everybody think about. The funniest part before me even get into that. The funniest part is a lot of these people outside of relationship, they would be happy for other people's success. But it's more like once you come to their relationship now and the person striving within their relationship, is almost like it take away from what they will achieve, because it's a concept like this. It's a very simple concept. If you there's a potential that if you go out there and become successful and I'm not successful to the level that you are, then you might leave me, you might neglect me, and all of that we've probably worked on together won't be a facade. Sorry, won't be a thing anymore. So it's almost like them feel left behind now and feel left out. So your success is either your success make them feel left out, And I feel like that's a weird phenomenon. And I don't and I know why it's still, and it's no, it's a self-esteem. It's a self-esteem issue. So it's not just a thing where it just exists. It's a self-esteem issue. And then the major part behind it now, the root cause of this now is that a lot of people don't understand that when it comes to relationship, your partner is not your life. Your partner is a part of your life. So, and that is the whole deal, our deal now. So it's almost like, okay, this person gone up, they're gonna become successful and strive. So what if they get all of these different assets or acquire all of these things? Then who am I now in the piece of puzzle? Not understanding that the relationship, importance of your relationship and the role that you play within that relationship, strengthen that person to work, to go out there and fight, knowing that if they come back now, you should be that person's solace and be that person's joy. But instead you overthink it and overanalyze it, then your low self-esteem now come in the way now, and that start affect every single thing. Because a self-esteem issue really affect the whole thing in a fire, where people can look behind them nose when it comes to somebody right beside them who they are with. They feel like it's a competition, and understanding is a motivation as opposed to a competition. Why you can't get motivated by your partner rising up the ladder? You're not supposed to feel like it's a competition, but it's just the way how people think and analyze it, and then it's a matter of it's an internal reflection, how I see myself, and this is what I probably, if I rose up the ladder and my partner is not the same place with me financially or whatever it is, then probably I would leave that person, or I would feel like that person is dragging me down. So you know what? That must be the same thing that my partner is thinking.
Serious thing. Insecurity is definitely the key to the thing. And also too, I just want to touch on this when we're talking about success, we're not just talking about finances, we're just talking about in anything, because you notice with any aspect of a person's life when they're trying to strive and improve themselves, it's an issue. Not all the time, but a lot of times, unfortunately. There's another aspect too, far in the sense that like people struggle, like with actors, they always talk about typecasting people. We typecast each other. So it's like I know Autarchii from those times, right? And I just have the way Autarchii was at that time. That's it. I don't want to see Autarchii in no other way, far eye. Because once there's any other deviation, unless it's a decline, it seems like we love to see the decline and praise the decline. But when there's a growth in regards to the person now, it seems like we have an issue with that. And I think that ties into couples in the sense that, and that's where you really see the problem, far eye. If a person grows during that relationship, put money to the side. I mean, grows, becomes better. Sometimes it becomes an issue. Sometimes it becomes the issue. And you know where I see it happen the most? With the food thing. When people change the way that they eat, it seems like that mash up the relationship ASAP, or they start working out. If both people aren't on board with that change or that growth, it seems like it's a very destructive process. So it's just
the dynamic. It
I
changed the dynamic now. With when the dynamic change, it's almost like somebody has said to you, say, "Oh, but this is how you met me." Because you say this concept of, "Oh, this is how you met me," and you were comfortable with how you met me, so you should accept me for what I am. No, but you can't really accept the concept of stagnancy, because you see if somebody's stagnant and now grow to certain levels, and if like, and it might come off as, okay, you have this expectation, but it's fine for to certain levels. It's fine for even have an expectation of how a growth supposed to stay. Not that the growth will always be constant within these particular phases, or it have the same pattern all the time. But you can't be a person who will grow, and then the person who is directly beside you, who you spend most of your time with within the same space, is not growing to certain levels or a certain extent, or even feeding off your vibration, so you can grow up on a collective effort. That mean that is a major red flag. And I think most people see these red flag, but it's almost like a sense of, okay, we're already within this situation, so let's carry out the situation. There's a possibility that this might happen, but then they never really address the problem at hand, or even talk about, okay, so talking about, I sound weird, but talking about certain basic issues is a no-no, because people within relationships at times too, they don't really want you to talk to them about. Yes, when it's all joke, when it's joke and all of these different things, it's good. But yes, when time it comes to serious conversation, we're direct towards you. Okay, we need to improve in this area, and this is what is lacking. It's almost like a sense of attack too.
No, big time. It's a serious sound. And you brought up a great point in regards to the that avoidance of real conversations. And I want to tell all the brothers and sisters out there is that, man, that's a key component where you're mashing up your relationship. You got to work on yourself, man. You have to work on yourself. You have to work on yourself to be a point to, man. It's like Jada Kiss got a line where he say, uh, support a stranger and hate on a brother we know. And it's like it's the most realistic thing because the closer a person is to you, the more jealousy you have of that person. And I think that goes back to the typecasting energy we were speaking about earlier. And I want to say, man, like if you have a real person in your life, you have a significant other, you should be like their biggest cheerleader, should be their biggest support system because you are a unit. You guys work together towards common things, you know, and I don't know, man. It's just like it's definitely something that I had to learn early because I didn't grow up around it and give thanks I did learn it. But like a lot of people don't have any support at all, whether they're in a relationship or they have a big family. And I think in your marriage, you definitely should have that support system and that help you grow, you know, moving forward. There's another aspect too I wanted to bring up that ties into this. I mentioned it earlier, but I want to delve deeper. Is that like you have to have a better relationship with success, Farai. And I think that's why success, and when I say again success in the basic term of accomplishing an intended goal, not necessarily, you know, just dealing with monetary, is that some people can't handle no success fire and they go off they, they go off the railing and they flip around now and become disrespectful or demeaning towards their spouse. And that's another uh complaint specifically from brothers I've been hearing about the sisters is that like they really struggle with their own success.
But it's not really it's not really it's not really a thing where them aware of in a fire. So I really want to call that out, you know, because especially when it comes to the sisters to the corporation drive such aggression in them, and after spending so many hours, 9 8 9 hours, 10 hours a day towards the mission of the corporation, that transition back to the relationship is not such an easy thing to do. It might seem like it's an easy thing to do, but it's really difficult. So most of the sisters now tend to have certain masculine traits now, and when it comes towards them dealing with an actual male who have these natural masculine traits now within the relationship, it's very it's become a clashing type of thing. So just from that angle, and I want to make sisters know it's not really an attack, it's just observation across the board, or realizing certain times you realize they're you know when I'm used to talk about the soft girl era, there's not much soft females around now who know to be soft and have that success and still be soft with that success now, and then let the masculine energy balance it now, like vice versa too. That are the males them not really know over portray masculinity because them start mix up this concept of ego and masculinity, and not understanding that masculinity and ego is not the same thing. And now them apply this egotistical and condescending type of behavior within the relationship. And then that now lead. Imagine having a female with masculine traits from a corporation, bringing that in a relationship, and a man now bringing that egotistic, that type of clashing now. So almost like we're doing our own things, and then when we strive now, that's when the internal competition start. Now imagine our soul with internal competition. It's just chaos because you see a person right this every single time. That person have a thought in their mind, you have a thought in your mind. The environment become toxic. And then that toxic environment now start lead to a spiral to all different type of things now. And then you realize the relationship break down even further. Cause I want to tell you in a fire, contrary to belief where a lot of people talk about this marriage thing and love. Most people don't marry for love. And that's a facade. Most people married so that they can get by, and there are certain benefits that come with marriage, and it's a matter of, okay, we can pay the bills, collect two of us together, can pay the mortgage, we can pay the rent, we can do this. But if it was me alone, I couldn't survive. So that's the main reason why most people married. It's not like there is any other. There, like love is the ultimate source. I really want to get that out of the brain.
And I want to touch on something you said earlier. I'll give thanks for the clarification. Is that because the environments we're in are so competitive, it's hard for people to turn off that competitive nature when they come in the house. And that's why most people competing and mashing up everything that's going on because there's a constant competition and constant trying to outdo each other because their standard or what they base success on leads them to behave in that manner. They don't have like their concept is so their mind is so saturated with the capitalistic ideology. Everything is I have to win, I have to outdo the other person. Coming to their own spouse, fire, even their own kids. They there trying to outdo their own kids and carrying on. Everything is this constant competition. And they can't have a healthy relationship because they're always competing. But as I said, you can't blame them personally because it is uh, a victim of the system in a sense because you're in that environment all the time. And it's like you really have to work on yourself or remove yourself. If you're in that environment, can you really turn it off? I think that's what a person has to ask them how deep you are in that environment. Maybe you could be in the environment, but you can't be so deep in it, because to survive in that, you have to be a certain type of way, and that doesn't work well in the household. And I think that's what we're seeing right now in regards to the conflict with relationships is a result of the environments, the corporate environment you have to work in, and it being so competitive. And it's like, how do I turn that competition off, in my personal life? Um, yeah, fire. I don't know, man. I just those listening, we give thanks for those listening, but I really encourage you to kind of work something out with your spouse where you guys are supporting each other because the marriage thing out here seem like it's rough, fire. Marriage thing seem like it's rough. And there are a lot of issues going on, but these are one of the issues. Brothers, it's okay if your lady's winning. You get what I'm saying? And women, it's okay if your man's winning. And also, too, man, you have to be like, if someone's making positive progress, don't be offended by it. Look at it for a form of inspiration, and use it that you yourself can kind of take up that certain journey and work to improve on yourself. And also, man, like you got to ease up with all the excitement when things go good for you. Some people get way out of hand when things go good for them. Fire. You need to tone it down, enjoy it, celebrate it. But you gotta keep a certain balance to you. I think sometimes we get unbalanced because I remember a Rastafari elder told me money could be too much for you. And I said I understood what he said when he said that because certain things happen to people fire and they just go way off.
No, that is it. That is it too. And then there's a component of most relationship where it's like if one person further above the other person is almost like the person in front feel like that person is weighing them down, and then the person who is behind now feel like that person is leaving them. So it's always like within the mind there's such a big gap within the mind, and that is hard to catch up to. And I feel like a lot of people need to understand this stuff. You see, there's one thing. There's a difference in loving a person, and there's a difference in actually having somebody who you can connect to on a soul level. I feel like most people, from a relationship standpoint, need to understand. Say you have to try attack, reach to that. Never say attack. Try to get to that soul level because once you have that soul connection, then you will understand that there's that different drive. And as they say, you have a person who is that time to lead, and even you as the leader know, so within certain instances you have to make that sacrifice and just step to the back sometimes just for the greater good. And I know it might be the roughest thing because I can personally attest to that. That is very hard to know that you might have more knowledge in this area, might be more suitable to lead, but within certain timing of that whole thing, you have to do that for the greater good to see make. I remember in a sacrifice in a relationship, but I still want to encourage the people, do not sacrifice yourself. Don't sacrifice yourself for any relationship at all because that is not a good thing. That will always come back and backfire upon you.
No, serious thing. I just want to touch on what you touched on before we leave is that to really be a good leader, fire, you have to understand and have discernment, as the Christian brothers would say, in regards to when to lead and when to follow. And I think that the leader, the definition of leadership that we've been given is of what totalitarian. The word they would say is just absolute. That's not leadership, fire. One of the key components of being a leader is following and understanding at the moments when other people need to lead. And I think
Your mind all over the place, you can't leave me still.
so you need to like analyze and identify the talents and strong points of you and your spouse and see the areas that one person leads, the other person leads, or it's a collaboration on certain things. But more than anything, if you have somebody dealing with progress, give thanks. Easy with the grudge and easy with the jealousy. See what you can learn from them. Be supportive. Be happy for them. It's
See
just
that?
better for you. It's just better for your energy and better for everything in the household. Men.
What can you learn from them, fire? I feel like that way you can learn from them is so very important, because most time we always think so like okay, that person have it and then we're nothing at all. Try learn something from them, and you can. And the hardest thing for most people do within a relationship is learn from the person who is so closest to them. They rather learn from strangers and outsiders, which is very
Oh
weird.
no, it's not weird, fire. It's a. Listen, man. I've been reading Black Jacobins again. But CLR James.
Yeah.
And like what I've been preying for, right, is just that, man. Like we don't. Well, I can't. Well, we don't speak enough about like this residual from slavery, far right. And I think one of the key components, you brought up something that a lot of people go through, is that women are trained not to respect black men. So you have to be like on some different level of achievement for them to just listen to what you have to say. Because many men can attest to this, fight. You can tell them the same exact thing, but it has to come from somewhere else for it to be processed.
Yep.
Somebody that just don't have a lot of melanin and maybe a little label to their name. And I think you have to be understanding of that so you don't get frustrated and offended by it. It's just groom. It's not even their fault. Or black men with black women, same way. A lot of black men have an issue taking information from black women, Farah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Feel like
they
just
can.
don't know, and that's
I think they try to generalize. Yeah, you may have come across someone with attitude, but all of them don't have attitude. The gist of the
that's
thing
the
is
fact.
you have an issue taking any form of information from a woman. I don't know if it's mother issues, I don't know what's going on, but you have an issue, and therefore, if you're getting game or you're getting something that's beneficial, you're locked off already because it's coming from that particular source.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, you got to have more respect for your brothers and sisters and understand they are brilliant too, regardless of what everyone else says. And there are things you can listen to. There may be things that don't make sense, but there are other things that make sense that can apply. And those are the things that you need to apply. You can't just cut them off and disregard them, no.
The key is to just listen, man. Not hear, just listen. And that's the key. Listen. And stop feel like everything your partner say, you don't have a response all the time to. Sometimes you can just listen and observe and really take a time to analyze it, and then you just see, oh, you can go forward with it, yeah.
No, serious thing. And we give thanks for everyone supporting from those times to now. Fire, we give thanks for the reason. I have to remind the people we are outside Sunday, August 25th, Ballhead and the Dread podcast party, live podcast, live music. We'll be at the Ito Kitchen, 1032 Union Street, Brooklyn, New York. Also have to remind the people, save the date, Groundings with my brothers and sisters. I Never Knew TV's Holistic Health Conference on October 12th in Philadelphia. More information will be coming soon.